Good morning, India, and we're going to review the Iran war day 30. Of course, today is day 31, a month is over. And as the month gets over, Hormuz remains knotted. And both these mullahs at the either end of the knot are just sitting tight. Right, let's discuss all this. And in the morning, I'm going to welcome Shri IRG. Morning, sir. And your initial thoughts on day 31.
Good morning, India, sir, and good morning to you too. Viewers, there is something that's going on that I'm trying to wrap my heads around and not really coming up with any answer. Sir, one thing, Israel goes and attacks Iran's steel plants. Iran comes and takes out the aluminum plants from UAE and Bahrain. This seems asymmetric. You want to go, you go and hit Israel's industries. So I want to see, this is the confusion I have. What is this thing? Who is dragging who else into this conflict? Over to you, sir.
The way I look at it, Iran doesn't have a political head today. The problem with Iran is the politics of Iran are being run by a set of military characters. And those military characters say, you hit me, I hit you back. It's just punch and counter punch. And they have a stash of missiles hidden somewhere, which our chaps are not able to either hit or find out. And they'll keep pooping. Right. So it's not this thing. That's it. That's the simplest explanation I can give, because there's no logic. And they're going to suffer. Let me tell you, as days go by, I don't know whether USA will win or not, but Iran will lose. And yesterday also I made this point. I'm making this point at the start before we get into any presentation and all that. The fact is that Iran might win militarily or seem to be winning militarily, but it is losing politically. And everything is about war is political in nature at the end of the day. This is my view. So your view, and then we'll get on to a presentation which I have.
Sir, their foreign exchange is only good for 18 days left now. And with all the disruption that has happened in oil that is being rationed inside the country, I don't know what is it that they are holding out for. So I'm also hearing that the guy whom they were talking to, he himself has been eliminated, Speaker of the Parliament.
Look, I don't know. I mean, look, we don't know whether he's eliminated or not. So without getting involved with it, let's get some hard facts, which is important.
Yeah.
Before this whole story went, the firing war, Iran was selling oil at $47 a barrel. Okay. Today it is selling at $110 a barrel. So why will it run out of money? Yeah, that's the fact. The fact is they're selling oil.
Yeah. Go ahead.
There are a lot of knots in this problem. And that is why this. Let me put that back. That's why this knotted ball, which I put as a caricature today in the morning. This is something which you can't catch straight. So let's see, because it has to play itself out. That's the way I look at it. And that's it. So shall we start? I'll go through.
Yes.
And please do feel free to comment whenever you want, and you just
will do. Yeah.
Right. So what does the headline say? So like you rightly said, Iran hits Kuwait power and desalination plant. There's no logic to hit Kuwait's desalination plant, right? And Israel downs Houthi drones and all that. Iran accuses US of plotting ground attack as Israel steps up bombardment and all that. And Netanyahu has ordered military to expand invasion of South Lebanon. So South Lebanon also something has happened. Very interestingly, New York Times doesn't have in the headlines, very little about the Iran war. It's all about Cuba, because something is happening in Cuba. Because US has allowed some oil tanker to reach Cuba. It has also allowed some rice to reach Cuba. So it's on a drip feed, right? So that's how Cuba is. So everything is on Cuba here. And here itself, in the end, live tracker, war in the Middle East, it's gone to the second column. Whether people there are losing interest or not, one doesn't know, but it doesn't seem so. Okay. What does China say? China is still interested in converting its yuan into reserve currency. And it keeps, and very little this thing. And he talks of clear cracks, how Trump war is driving Republicans rift, all that as midterms approach. So they're on some different tangent. But I must tell everyone here that, look, don't go by what the headlines in China are, everything. Over the past 1 week, 10 days, there's some bizarre events happening in China. I'll cover it maybe today in the afternoon or in the evening. The inexplicable, unconnected events happening in China. But those events, when you look at it, a larger thing is something falling in place in China, we'll see. I mean, right. Oh, this is a very nice clip I got. This is how life is being affected in.
Small and big eateries in India are feeling the pinch from the war in the Middle East.
घर का खर्चा, रेंट, वेंट सब कुछ बिजनेस पे डिपेंड है, हमारे स्मॉल बिजनेस पे.
Overnight, you go from making a decent amount of money to being in huge losses.
Kitchens in India are powered by liquefied petroleum gas, or LPG. Roughly 60% of India's cooking gas comes mainly through the Strait of Hormuz. But the conflict in the Middle East has slowed imports and set off panic buying of gas cylinders in India.
मेरा पूरा बिजनेस सिलेंडर पर डिपेंड करता है कि मैं गिव अप कर दूं because of cylinder crisis.
𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 opened a small food stall 2 years ago in western India selling momos, or steamed dumplings filled with meat and vegetables. Joshi said her family was against the idea because they didn't think it was a respectable job for a woman.
बहुत लोगों ने बुली किया, छेड़ाछाड़ी भी हुई है क्योंकि अकेली लड़की रोड में खड़ी है, जगह ढूंढना स्टॉल के लिए. मतलब मैंने बहुत हिम्मत और बहुत करेज लगा मेरे को.
I loved Mexican food. I loved India.
𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 is from Maryland and grew fond of India during a study abroad program.
I wanted to come back to India and spend time here, and this was the way to do it.
So in 2012, he opened California Burrito in Bangalore. Today, there are over 130 locations across India.
We have burritos, salads, rice bowls. I wouldn't call it exactly fusion, but trying to adjust to the way that Indians cook their food and take inspiration from that.
But now, with little to no access to cooking gas, both businesses have pivoted to stay afloat.
और मैं कोशिश कर रही हूँ कि मैं कोई अल्टरनेटिव ढूंढूं.
Joshi closed her food stall for more than a week to learn how to cook with firewood or coal.
कि भट्टी को जलाने में 1 घंटा लगता है. हीट को कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते तो क्या होता है ना, कभी ओवर स्टीम हो जाता है मोमोज और कभी कच्चा रह जाता है.
She also had to change her menu.
में मैं एटलीस्ट फ्राई मोमोज तो नहीं सर्व कर सकती, बट हाँ मैं स्टीम मोमोज सर्व कर सकती हूँ. देयर मतलब बहुत सारी चीजें अल्टरनेटिव्स, जैसे कि आइसक्रीम हो गया, अगर जो चीज बिना सिलेंडर के या बिना इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के यूज हो रही हो.
Unlike Joshi, California Burrito had some gas reserves when the war started. But to keep the doors open, the company spent over $100,000 to buy electric induction stoves and fryers.
We were quick, so we placed the orders before other people did. We got the approvals to get electrified. Stores that needed capacity enhancements in terms of their electrical load, we got those done.
This allowed the company to keep the menu the same.
The products that are getting cooked now on electric one is our fajita veggies, our paneer, and then on the electric grill top, we have a grilled barbecue chicken. The big difference that has been part of this electrification is the batch size is much smaller. It means they have to cook it much more frequently.
California Burrito plans to integrate some gas again once it becomes more available.
Electricity is frankly not very stable. It's not there all the time. So LPG was the most dependable way. I think the war has been a big wake-up call for Indians on the role that LPG plays in our daily lives.
Joshi said she will ditch the firewood and go back to gas.
और मुझे लगता है कि सिचुएशन हो जाएगी, तो मैं हार नहीं मानूंगी और करूंगी कंटिन्यू.
So हार नहीं मानूंगी, but I will continue. So what's your view of this little clip, which is away from the normal thing? Yeah, your view,
sir. India will innovate. Do you know how rava came about? You remember that? Idli rava?
Idli rava. Yeah, please tell.
Idli rava happened during First World War because the rice became a big shortage. Maybe Britain needed more rice. We don't know the exact reason, but rice was a shortage. Rice was in shortage all over India. And but the country was rice eating. At least half the country is, more than half the country is rice eating. You go up to Bengal, everybody eats rice. So they had to find something that they had a lot of, from which they could create the feeling that it was something similar to what they used to have. Enter Mavalli Tiffin Room, MTR. That's what that brand did. Today the brand is very popular. You see so many packaged foods in stores and things like that. But that was their invention. MTR did this idli rava. It's basically, I think, wheat pounded to small parts so that it feels like rice, and you cook it, right, instead of chapatis. So India will find a way, sir. I don't think there's a problem. My guess is India is going to do LNG. They will move to LNG very fast. You don't need power. Electricity doesn't have to be there. LNG pipe is there, it will come. Right?
Yeah.
So it divorces itself from the power. This is what the induction heater has a problem with. Not only that, if you think about a flat, 100 flats, if everybody turns on their induction heater, imagine the surge in the electricity.
Yeah. So a lot of issues, but then, well, India is coping, so is the rest of the world. And let's get going ahead. Look, this is the latest tracker of casualties. Iran is inching up, so is Lebanon, right? But look, again, I make this point. Iran might have lost 2,000 people, but their own people have killed about 15,000 people last 2 months.
Yeah.
So the casualties of this war is much lesser than what the Iranian IRGC has inflicted upon its own people. So that itself tells you that, look, this regime is past its sell-by date. I'd like to put MBS, what he spoke, because that's important, this thing. Let me know if you can hear the sound or not. Yeah.
هناك بلا شك مشاريع كثيرة في العالم هدامة، وللأسف اليوم أن أغلب هذه المشاريع الهدامة موجودة في الشرق الأوسط وبجوارنا في المملكة العربية السعودية. هناك نظام إيراني نعرف جميعا بأنه هدف ايديولوجي بحت، ليس هدفه خدمة مصالح إيران والمواطنين الإيرانيين، بل هدفه خدمة مصالح الأيديولوجية الإيرانية، والأدلة كثيرة من 30 سنة الماضية، وآخرها حصلوا على 150 مليار دولار لم يبنوا حتى شارع أو مجمع سكني أو مجمع صناعي في إيران، فهدفهم واضح، فقط دفعوا فيها إرسال صواريخ للسعودية ودعم منظمات إرهابية في أماكن كثيرة في العالم.
This is the important point he makes. He says they were given $150 billion by Obama. I mean, that is debatable, good, bad, or ugly. But the fact is, they spend money in supporting terrorists and missiles and war and all that, and they didn't do anything about their own people. But finish. Let's listen to him fully.
أيضا عمل النظام الإيراني على دعم الإرهاب ليس فقط في حزب الله أو الحوثيين أو هذه المنظمات. نجد اليوم الكثير من قيادات القاعدة متواجدة في إيران، بما فيهم ابن أسامة بن لادن، ترعرع وتربى وكبر في إيران، والآن هو يحاول أن يكون القائد القادم لتنظيم القاعدة. فجميعا نعرف هذا المخاطر، وليس لدينا أي ضبابية على هذه المخاطر، ونحن نتواصل ونتفهم كيف نتعامل معها، ونتأكد أن العالم كله آمن وسليم، سواء في الشرق الأوسط أو في أوروبا أو في أي أماكن أخرى في العالم، من هذه الأفكار الهدامة.
Yeah. So what do you make of this? Your views?
So he has openly come out and said that Iran is a terrorist regime, and why he kept quiet this far is another matter for another day. Now he himself is hurting, and you see the story on the grapevine, General Shankar, is it was KSA which was egging United States to go bomb Iran more than Israel. That's the story on the grapevine, sir.
Yeah, fine. So that's where it is. So look, again, it just reinforces my point which I've been making. This war is going to go to a definite end. Let's make no bones about it. Let's not have any doubts about it. And that end, the way I look at it, is the minimum. That's the minimum. The Strait of Hormuz will be under international control. Iran might have a role, but it will be under international control. And some kind of a, Iran has to get off its high horse. Otherwise, it's going to get destroyed. Today, it might seem that it is causing a lot of damage with missiles. You want all that, but eventually it has to, because it's now no more just USA versus Iran. It is the Gulf and the entire Muslim world versus Iran. That's the most important point. But in amidst all this, you must listen to what friend Trump says. This is what he said.
Getting a lot of the things that they should have given us a long time ago. See how it works out, but they're very good. Moving along very nicely. They've destroyed a lot of additional targets today. The Navy's gone, the Air Force has gone, we know that. But we destroyed many targets today. It was a big day. And we are negotiating with them directly and indirectly. We have emissaries, but we also...
So he says, we are negotiating with them directly and indirectly. That's a big statement. Okay. Now, that's a big statement.
Directly, and as you know, they've agreed to send 8 boats 2 days ago, and then they added another 2, so it was 10 boats. And now today they gave us as a tribute, I don't know, I can't define it exactly, but they gave us, I think out of a sign of respect, 20 boats of oil, big boats of oil.
So now he says they're giving 20 boats of oil. Okay.
This is what Pakistan is claiming.
Yeah, that's the point. So let's see.
Going through the Hormuz Strait, and that's taking place starting tomorrow morning. Over the next couple of days, a lot of boats. And I would only say that we're doing extremely well in that negotiation. But you never know with Iran, because we negotiate with them and then we always have to blow them up, whether it's the B-2 bombers or just terminating, as an example, the Iran nuclear deal done by Barack Hussein Obama, probably the worst deal we've ever done as a country, one of the dumbest deals we've ever done. But I terminated it, unfortunately. Otherwise, right now, they'd have a nuclear weapon. Then we did the attack with the B-2 bombers, and we stopped them from having nuclear. And now we had to blow them up again.
Yeah. So what do you make of this statement? All yours.
Sir, see, this is the problem with IRGC and Mullah leadership. If they say that they are talking, the natural question that comes next is, who's responsible for what happened? And they're afraid, and I think they should be afraid, that their own people are going to lynch them in the streets, in their palaces, what have you. So they'll they'll try to find an exit, just like this guy did, sir. What's his name? Bashar Assad. Maybe China will give whoever is left some kind of... Remember, there's a place called Moshad, which is in the northern part of Iran. Many of them were migrating there, thinking that it is outside the reach of Israel and US, that they are relatively safe there. It's a problem. You have ruled. It's not an iron fist. It was much more worse than that.
Yeah.
And this is what happens, sir.
Yeah, I agree with you. The only thing which I want to point out is I don't know what to believe. Trump suddenly talks of 10 boats, which I don't see any evidence. Then now he's talking of 20 boats, which again we don't know. Now you introduced the thing about Pakistan. Pakistan barely has 20 boats. So let us see how this whole story goes out, right? We're talking about different people with different ideas. So let me get back to what I was saying. The Iranians seemed very confident. He says we've destroyed radars. Now Trump and Netanyahu are, trapped in a slaughterhouse. All this rhetoric, and then he says Iran has killed 21 Ukrainians, right? With Ukrainian air defense systems in the UAE. A lot of nonsense is coming out of Iran. Now he says they will target homes of American and Israeli politicians and US military officials throughout the Middle East. Yeah, all that. So that's how they're going. And then the Artesh, that is the regular army spokesperson, he said ground warfare is our specialty. Let them come, we'll sort them out. Yeah, all that. So Iran is talking big. Of course, it is getting some hits. We know that. But it's only that much. I mean, I don't give too much credence to it. But this thing about the ground forces, we'll talk of it later. USA is not going to have a cakewalk in getting any place which they want, getting their thing. But I'll talk of it later on. And yesterday, there were attacks by Iran in Israel. And then they stopped Saudi Arabian ships from going through Strait of Hormuz. And most importantly, yesterday, a parliament member of the Iran parliament, he says, we are going to pass a law where Strait of Hormuz will be ours. We will have new regulations, environment, all that fees of transit vessels and all. They're going to make it into their law. No, they are very hell bent that they will control the Strait of Hormuz, and that is a sign which is pretty dicey. The way I look at it, I wouldn't say dicey, which indicates that this has to be taken to its logical conclusion. You can't let one of the big straits in the Middle East, the most critical strait in the Middle East, in the control of Iran. Right. There's a clip which I want to show. Many people are saying how Iran missiles have been doing well, all that. But have a look at this so that you understand. Yeah.
Yeah. برا gitti خرج düştü. برا قلب شد. يا أبا الفتح. يا أبا الفتح. يا أبا الفتح.
So missiles do fire, misfire, and a lot of Iranian missiles must have misfired. They might show you, as if they're hitting everything, but I don't think so. Right. And then, of course, IRGC went to town saying they hit a E-3 AWACS aircraft and all that. Central Command has refuted it. It says no. It might be right, might not be right, but this to and fro is continuing. Right. This was a site captured. This picture was captured from an airline. Okay, where something in Abu Dhabi was hit. That's how it is. And they say that this chap Wahidi has been eliminated. We don't know whether he's eliminated or not. He's the head of IRGC at this point of time. But we'll await confirmation. Right. But Israel and USA have been busy. They've flown over 150 jets and 120 missions. They're taking out sites for development of ballistic missile bases, military industries, research and development. The same thing with the repeating. This is a systematic breakdown of Iranian military infrastructure and civil infrastructure. There's a very clear plan with these chaps as to how they're doing it. It's going to take time, but it will be done. That's my view. Okay, they're hitting IRGC related infrastructure. Basically, you see, all the businesses of in Iran are controlled by IRGC. Now they started getting after them. They are also getting after housing and residential complexes where these IRGC and army people live. Okay, so it's pretty systematic. It might not be dramatic. What the Iranians fire on, in Gulf and all is dramatic. It might be one missile or two missiles, right? Whatever happens, lot of fire. It doesn't matter the missile comes is correct or not. It hits one building or the other, but it makes a lot of news. What's happening within Iran, we fully don't know, and lot is happening. They say Qatar's Al Arabi channel in Tehran has been hit badly, and then Washington Post today has come out with this report, and I give it a lot of credence only because we know Washington Post is not with the present administration. Yeah. For them to come out with this is interesting. They said Iran's missile infrastructure is severely strained after weeks of strikes, right? And they've shown pictures and they've made an analysis. It gives an indication they might have some missiles left there, everything, but they're slowly going down the chute. That we should have no doubt about it. Okay. And another thing which came out is Israelis are using soft kill methods to cut electricity supply. Not taking the grid out, but they're doing something very funny. They're doing blackout cluster bombs. What is it? They put aluminum filaments in it and throw it out. And those aluminum filaments go and embed themselves in the generators and transformers and all that, and the lines, and cross short circuits. After short circuiting, that whole thing goes off. And yesterday, there was a large power outage in Karaj. Not only in Karaj, it was there in Tehran also. So they're doing a different method without everything. Yeah, that whole story, that whole system will be down but not out. To repair it will take a long time. So we'll see where this new story goes. But interestingly, this clip, by Aditya Raj Kaul says, people came out on the street chanting Allahu Akbar. So there's a lot of, support left for this regime internally. It comes back to the thing that internally Iran is divided and polarized, right? So that's it. And yeah, this I've given already. Yesterday, there were a lot of protests within USA on no kings protests, right? So there is some domestic issues for Trump, and it's not as if he's got support internally. I like, and any war which you prosecute, you need domestic support. Without domestic support, it's not easy to carry out this thing. You're there, you have better knowledge about what's going on. So I want your views on this, Shayarji.
Shankarji, this is manufactured protest. And the way this has been funded, we have done some programs on it, very, very sophisticated. Placards magically appear at the right places. The busing also happens magically. Food is taken care of. Money, you're supposed to be doing something similar to what we do in elections in India. Some kind of a half 100 rupee note is given to you. The other half will be at a place where you can go match it, and then you get the rest of the money. Something like that in gas stations primarily, where a lot of cash happens. So this is now well known, and this is a deep state play. One of the things that they have as a face is this guy called 𝗜𝗏𝗏. He's a Sri Lankan American, I think, and based out of China. And a lot of things are bearing his name, the names on the companies and all that stuff. And this is not going to be for a long, General Shankar, because they can only do it over the weekends now. People are not interested in coming during the weekdays. And you will have this, but sir, in comparison to what used to happen when Vietnam War was in progress, it's just nothing.
Okay. So that's a good thing you clarified it. I go with you, because 𝗜𝗏𝗏𝗏's name has come up. It in fact come up in India also, where we had to put one chap in the can and all that, but that's a later day story.
Yeah.
But look, there are certain things coming out. This report says everyone thought that UAE will be a soft target, but UAE has stood up to Iran, and it has stood up so well that, look at this. This is now confirmed. A lot of people are confirming this. UAE has seized $530 billion of Iranian assets in UAE, which were there. We knew, we've been speaking, Iran used to fund all its money and do everything through Dubai. So a lot of Iranian money is in Dubai. So this money is stuck. Now Dubai has taken it. It will not give it back, very clearly. So you see this, then this will happen everywhere. No. Any Iranian asset anywhere will be seized. The fact is that Iran is now fighting against itself. Don't you think this is an important and interesting development, your views?
Very true, sir. I've done a monologue that will be released in a few hours from now, primarily looking at what UAE has done. That 99-year residency golden visa was given to many individuals who are probably outside of Iranian origin. And now they are no longer welcome. They can't come back into UAE. Not only that, sir, there are some Iranian-run hospitals, Iranian-run schools. These have all been closed in UAE. I think it's a little bit questionable, because where are those people who are seeking treatment going to go? And what about the children? I mean, you are again breeding hatred from a very young age. I'm a little ambivalent about that. But see, this is the problem. You let money come in freely, and now when you try to hit them, they say, okay, your money is no longer yours, it's ours. So either side, it's not an easy situation to be in.
Yeah, I go with you completely, and so things are interesting. But from just the war point of view, Iran should start realizing that look, it's hitting its own pockets, and this is the problem with Iran. Iran is not dealing with it politically anymore. Iran is dealing only militarily, and militarily it will lose the war because at the end of the day, it is the war is has to culminate in a deal, a political settlement, or a treaty, or some samjhauta or understanding or something like that. Whatever, right? That's not happening. Iran is, fighting a losing war hereafter. That's my view, and I'm now very clear where this whole story is going. The only thing is the physicality of the Strait of Hormuz, all that. We'll see how it goes. And then, of course, we'll turn to Pakistan. This whole thing, Wall Street Journal has come out with this report. Once isolated by Washington for harboring Osama bin Laden, it has come into pole position. Yesterday, there was this quadrilateral consultation between Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Egypt. And they've posed for a family photo. I don't know what kind of a family it is. And there's nothing which has come out of it. The Pakistan has put 2 pages worth of everything. And this fellow 𝗜𝗥𝗃𝗃 has said, United States and Iran have expressed confidence in Pakistan to facilitate potential talks. So let us see how all this is going. At the end of the day, Pakistan is just a pipeline, right? They're providing a pipeline. Okay, and they'll have to pay for it. On that, I have no doubt. And this thing which you said, Iran has allowed 20 more ships under Pakistani flags to pass, all that. So this Diva Jain has very clearly said Pakistan doesn't have 20 ships, it's got only 12. Right? And there is no way every Pakistani flag vessel is in existence is on Hormuz. So there's a lot of propaganda going on of this 20 vessel business. Okay. And then there's the internal problems in Pakistan. Yesterday, the Afghan border flared up and there were TTP threats. So they keep every second day, they are blocking off one part of Islamabad or the other. Right? And there is news, I don't know whether it's right or not, but this gives an indication. Saudi Arabia is turning screws on Pakistan. They've got 6.3 billion there. So you return it or you do act the way we want. So Pakistan will slowly and certainly come to its point of reckoning. And then, of course, like I said, yesterday there was a lot of firing in Kunar, Pakistanis. So that's how it is. So before I go to the other things, I want your view on Pakistan and what's happened and all that in this ministers' meeting and all that. Your views on that.
Sir, last count, Pakistan owed $30 billion to China. And I can't even total up how much money they owe to Saudi Arabia because they have been giving oil on credit that never was even paid. I think Saudi probably have given something similar. And with both these countries, there is no hope of ever getting anything back. And with IMF giving them the drip treatment, I don't know how long Pakistan will last. They have an informal economy, but even that informal economy needed black market oil from Iran, which is dried up now in the last 30 days. Maulana Diesel. Why is he called Maulana Diesel?
Yeah, I completely
formal
agree
formal economy gone, informal economy also gone. India needs to be sure that they don't start coming into India because there's a food problem in Pakistan. I don't know how that's going to be tackled.
No, they'll not come to India. There's no doubt. Right?
They hate us too much.
There's no way. There's no way. Right. So look, let me turn to a few other issues, and the few other issues are, one is that there are problems in countries like Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, and other places in South Africa, the African continent. They don't have oil. People are running out of oil. People are running out of fuel. It's okay, India has more, but people are there. So this political pressure will start building up on both USA and Iran to get to a solution. As of now, Nigeria is stepping up and Nigeria will make a lot of money, but that's about all. And very interesting, there's another thing which has happened. Russia has announced a ban on gasoline exports until 31st July, and it's going to come in effect in 1st April. April, May, June, July. And why? Ukraine has struck Russia's second largest oil refinery. The first one was stuck last week. They've stuck the second one also. As a result, Russia will export crude, but not gasoline, right? So this is an interesting development. Your views on that? After that, I'll give you my views.
Sir, I hope none of these misfired missiles from Iran find their way to Jamnagar, sir. You never know.
No. That won't happen. That won't happen for many reasons, right? Then Iran is the big loser if that happens. Look, let me put it this way. Iran is in India, for Iran, which is that place where they can go safely and talk. India. I have said this. Right. India has helped Iran consistently in this whole story. We could have easily taken a thing against. I mean, look at it. You know, our Prime Minister went to Israel one day before this war.
Yeah.
Remember that? Right? So people said, oh, he shouldn't have been there and he didn't know about the war, right? Logically, that's... But what people don't understand and probably have missed out is while our Prime Minister was there, the naval chief of Iran was in Visakhapatnam on that day, in the fleet review. He met our naval chief. Okay. So it's not as if they didn't know what we were doing and we don't know what's going on. Then on the third day, on 3rd or 4th of March, I think was the Raisina dialogues where the deputy foreign minister of Iran was given a podium to speak from. His point of view, when the US chap, guy came from US, he spoke, and Israeli guy also spoke. And then this was repeated during the India Today conclave, right? Thrice we have given them a platform to speak from. All those vessel which was sunk, those survivors, plus the guys, one ship which we saved, we got into Thiruvananthapuram. Those people have all been returned to Iran, and even that ship will be returned to Iran. So they have a lot of stakes in India today. We have given them rice, incidentally. We give them rice. So they can't look from Pakistan. What will they get? Nothing. Who will give them anything today? We have given them medicines, and they've thanked us for it. Now this has all happened. So I don't see that happening, because that's the last bridge they'll burn is with India today, Iran. Right? So to that extent, I'm not too bothered. And just to reinforce my point, there are 2 more LPG tankers coming in. Yesterday 2 came, 2 more have been allowed in. Right? So I don't see that story coming up where we will have a problem with gasoline. In fact, India's gasoline capacity is something which everyone will protect. Right? And by now, I'm sure India has taken adequate defense against all these gasoline, Jamnagar, basically Jamnagar, and in that belt where it is. So I don't see this as a problem. I mean, this is my view. You have any other view or anything, we can talk of it. Right?
No,
and
sir, that's all I wanted to say.
1 minute, before you. This is a picture yesterday which was shot from one of the LPG carriers from their thing with the Indian Navy escorting them. There's a clip which I didn't show, but I just thought I'll think. Yeah, your views on this whole story now, please.
Sir, we were one of the first ones to say that India has a bold strategy that it believes under UNCLOS that this is international waters and it should not be stopped. And we are seeing evidence of that now. And India is, I think it's like, the golden goose kind of thing for right now for the Middle East. If you strike India, then what happens is, we are giving you all the food you need. We're just saying, let us come through. We'll do what we have been doing for a long time.
In fact, this is what he says. They have to send us LPG. After all, they need food from India, which is a very huge thing. I mean, look, let me take this opportunity to tell you all also. We are talking of India, which is a net food exporter, which is going to save a lot of people in Middle East, including all Gulf countries and Iran. And this is the same India in which I remember standing in line for ration once in a week.
Yeah. Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So look, that's the transformation and power of India. No other country is able to give this to them. Please understand this thing. So I don't think we will have a problem at all. My personal view. I mean, we will have our other problems, but not problem from Iran. Okay. Now, having said this, this is something interesting which I saw. 𝗜𝗥𝗃𝗃 Disgrace, the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, he spoken to our Prime Minister about fuel supply disruption and grateful for India's swift response. 38,000 tons of fuel arrived in megatons of fuel arrived in Colombo. He's also said thanks to our External Affairs Minister for the close coordination. This is the Prime Minister, and this is 𝗜𝗀𝗃𝗃 𝗵𝗂𝗧, the opposition. So the opposition and the ruling party in Sri Lanka says thank you to us, and he says let us not forget those who stood by us when it mattered. This is very important. We have stood by Sri Lanka, we have stood by Maldives, we have stood by Bangladesh, we have stood by Nepal, and of course Bhutan. So I think one of the big things which has happened in this war is that we have consolidated our neighborhood. Your view on that, and then we'll get to the last thing which I wanted to put across.
What India is trying to do is to ensure that all these countries, as long as they responsibly consume it, like for example, Sri Lanka has a QR code that makes sure that there is guaranteed fuel. May not be what you really need, but at least it's there for you to do some basic stuff and so on and so forth. I think India has managed helping Sri Lanka. It might even become a template for India to support other countries who might also get into distress. Nepal is an example. Bangladesh is another example. Maldives, I think, is already okay with it now because India is doing a lot more for them. With the exception of Pakistan, I think everybody else, India is always willing to give a helping hand, including Afghanistan.
Yeah. Now, I want to clarify this. Is India so self-sufficient to give oil to neighbors? Yes, we are. We are not only self-sufficient, we are exporting. Please understand this. Right? And, then of course, India helps many more countries than China does. Very important. Both these things are important. Right? We have surplus.
Operation Dost.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And last thing which I want to put across is something which personal, my anecdote. This is the thing about 𝗜𝗏𝗃𝗃, Mr. 𝗜𝗏𝗃𝗃, who was honorary Air Commodore of the IAF, passed away yesterday. So I must tell you who 𝗜𝗏𝗃𝗃 is. 𝗜𝗏𝗃𝗃 was the owner of Raymond's. He's the guy who owned Raymond's, and he was a great man. He flew in a single propeller plane all by himself from London to Bombay sometime back, when in a few years, about 25-30 years back. I met him when I was a GOC of MNG area. We were holding a function, so I got a request from 𝗜𝗏𝗃𝗃. Can you invite me? So I invited him over, and he was so nice, and we had of course, drink together in that function, and because I was hosting the function, there were a lot of people, and he was one of them. And I spent 5-10 minutes with him and asking him how did he fly from London to Bombay, and he said, "Look, JRD Tata wanted to fly from London to Karachi, so I wanted to do the same thing." And we had a nice talk. And the pity why I got this is by then his problem had set in. He established Raymond's. Today, Raymond's is a great brand in India. Everyone knows it. But his own son kicked him out of the house and took over the factory or the complete business. And he and his wife were staying in a small little flat in Bombay, right? And of course, later his wife also, I think, passed away, and yesterday he passed away. So I was recollecting this, that's the only meeting I had with him, right? At my house, he had come, and I said, "This is what happens, At the end of the day, he must have died a broken man. His son and daughter-in-law threw him out, and family fluid, all that. So my message to everyone, money doesn't matter in life. Relations matter. Relationships matter. And that's what I wanted to put across. It's just this. Those of you who are listening to me, please understand, relationships matter more than money. Money comes and goes in life. It doesn't matter. You have to be honored and everything. And look at this old man. He is today honored by many people like us. Okay, his son won't be honored. As simple as that. That's the way I look at it.
Right.
So,
right. Very true.
Your view on this, Shreyarji, I would say your view. Yeah.
I've got a lot of quotes. The fabric is made by Raymond.
Okay. The man who, it's a pity. And, you have to be loyal to your own self. You have to be loyal to everything. And man is great. And I met him. Such a nice man he was. I'm feeling sad. That's why I thought I'll share it with all of you. I have finished. You have anything to say? Otherwise,
no, sir. Let's go to some questions. I'll hang around for another 5 to 8 minutes, and then I'll beg your forgiveness.
Yeah.
The audience too.
Yep, sure. I'll go through because we have some time. I'll take a lot of questions today. India has also struck Gulf targets. Iran has also struck Gulf targets, including a power and desal. Yeah, we said this thing.
Yeah.
Before we go ahead, don't forget to subscribe to Gunnershot and P Gurus. Also like this video and also join us as members. You'll get,
Yes.
Okay. And
we are meeting tonight again on the Gunner side.
Yeah. Iraqi Shia militants have entered Iran to help fight, and child soldiers have been inducted to control the Irani people. Yeah, let's see where this goes. Okay. Thanks for the information. Right. All US wars are a disgrace for them. Your view on this?
Well, war is always not a good thing, especially in the way the United States looks at the world. I mean, one disaster after the other. I can't say that this one was something that US wanted to get into, but they had this protection treaty agreements with many countries. That's what I was saying at the beginning of this program, that it was KSA which was more keen that US come and join with Israel to take out all the things that Iran had than anybody else. So please understand that this is not Trump's war. It's somebody else who has wanted it, and because of all the existing agreements, plus they pay good money and they want to invest in the United States, so Trump did a business deal, another business deal. I feel sad for the common Iranian citizen who has to put up through all these things, like, what you said about cluster wire sprinklings on all these things, which will just keep shorting things out. You have to go carefully take out each one before you can turn the switch back on. It's not a easy situation to be. Ohm's law.
Okay.
You have to go back and
yeah. Thanks a lot. Amazing analysis for by both of you. I have a question regarding India. Do you not think India can have a more proactive role to get something out of this chaos? After all chaos is a ladder. Okay. A proactive role for India. Your views?
I think India is doing a lot. It doesn't have to be like what Pakistan does. Like you put out a press release every 30 minutes. And then most of them are pretty useless. India is doing a lot of things in the back end. And I think sometimes what happens is it's better to stay in the shadows and get things moving. And India's biggest concern was the channel. The Hormuz Strait had to be kept open. And I think India has had substantial success in doing that. And you can fight, but at least India is doing its best to keep things in a happy frame of mind for everybody. Sir.
Oh yeah, India is doing far more than you think. We are doing a very proactive role, so don't this thing. Yeah, like I told you, we are the only one who's got a, who is listened to in Iran. No one else is Iran listens to. Okay. So why Western media is so fixed about problems in India? I live in Sydney and so many petrol pumps are running out of diesel and petrol. No story in Western media. Food prices inflated. Yeah. Look, that's a fact. I agree with you. When a system starts rising and when a system starts defying gravity, and when a system of and a set of people are doing something which is not being done by others, you will have negative reporting on you. So be patient about it. And especially when earlier they used to look at the hungry, unfed masses in India. That rope charmer, that Indian rope trick and that snake charmer kind of a narrative which used to go around. That's gone now. So people, there is a problem in media, Western media, not to accept this transfer or transformation which has happened in India. So it's okay. Don't get too worried about it. Yeah, then let me see. Right. Yeah, last night, a great 30 days account. Yeah, yesterday evening, Self and General Dushyant did a stock of what happened in the 30 days. We did some reflection. We also did some lessons as to what it came out. It was a very interesting discussion. I'd like all of you to have a look at that, because that will give you a clear idea as to where this whole story is going. And I'm sure today evening also we'll do something more with a different set of people. Right? How can we believe Trump? He's a pathological liar. I agree with you completely. This is again an interesting comment. Trump's war game is like Abhimanyu's entering the battlefield but never knew how to get out of it. Abhimanyu was a good guy. Can't be said the same thing about Trump. I agree with you completely. Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. They don't have an exit plan whatsoever. Yeah, was 𝗜𝗏𝗃𝗧 Bajwa taken out? We don't know. The rumor is that he is dead. It's not confirmed anywhere in Pakistan news, right? So we don't know. Okay. Right. Okay, I really don't see any more question. Yeah. Why is oil price going up in US when actually there is a lot of oil in US itself? Yeah, maybe you can answer that.
Yeah, actually, I went and pumped oil today, $5.20 for the lowest category, unleaded. And it's gone up by, I think, about 25%. What can I say? You see, distribution is a problem. In California, I can understand why it's gone up so much, because we foolishly have shut down 3 refineries. 3, not 1, not 2, 3 refineries. One ConocoPhillips, one Valero, and one, I'm not remembering the third one, Exxon or something like that. So, sir, California is a reflection of this woke on steroids. That's what California has become. So,
yeah. Then he says, suggestion, have additional gateways for making payments beside Google Pay. Okay, let me think over it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not into money, incidentally. Yeah. It's clear the hardcore of IRGC is now controlling the narrative. So unless there is a regime change with the politician in charge, Iran is hurtling to destruction, taking other Arab countries with it. Your view?
Yes, sir. You are right. it is, see, my guess is, oh, there is one other comment about California. My guess is that IRGC itself, there is no single body. We just talked about Wahid being taken out, and there is rumors that even Speaker may not be alive. So this part of the leadership is completely getting wiped out. And who will be left? 𝗜𝗏𝗃𝗃 probably, and the foreign minister, and there is one other guy, defense minister also. And they have to pick up the pieces of their country. And it is also possible that if they say that, okay, we want to sit down and have a peace agreement, Israel may have a way to get some of these things back up quickly also. Sometimes you have an undo button in some of these things.
Yeah. So there's one guy who doesn't like my face or my thinking. He must be from Pakistan or China. Hard to believe this man made it to the rank of Lieutenant General. I guess they've considered participation trophies in India. What do you say?
We had something like this in a previous episode. One other guy also was venting like this. You know, the best way to do this is to ignore this guy and just move on.
No. We should explain to them what I agree with you, but at the same time, we should also tell them, you know, after all, these are all Pakistani guys who are coming up. So those of you who are watching this, watch it carefully, right? Such buffoons will come, so don't get carried away by them.
Yeah.
Especially those who are from neutral areas. Romesh, thanks a lot for your contribution. Jai Hind sir, political victory is important for our IRGC as well as Trump. High stakes, but for Trump, military victory will also matter. Your take? Your take, Shreyarji.
My 2 cents, General Shankar. Although the story is that they are still searching for the enriched uranium, I believe that has been accounted for. You make what you want of what accounted for means. This is purely Israel's agenda, where again Israel and the GCC, where they want to completely demilitarize Iran, including taking out any missiles, missile production facilities, missile design facilities, everything. They want them to just maybe get into their car and go to work and come back. I don't know where that line is. Maybe Israel has a line. I think it will be another 2 to 4 weeks. You will see systematic removal, and hopefully the politicians start. See, the people have to come out and say that, okay, we want 𝗜𝗏𝗃𝗃 to be our representative. Some of you who are brothers and sisters who are watching from Iran, you have to make up your mind. This is not the way to go. Please conserve what you have got left.
Yeah. Sir, the conflict involving Iran has diminished the perceived invincibility of American military technology. This shift boosts India's strategic confidence to challenge established military powers. Why do you think that India is not an established military power? We are an established military power, right? That's the first thing, Prax. The second thing is, please go back what we discussed with General 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃. Okay. Invincibility of American military technology. The military technology is good, but it has been applied in ways which could have been better. And that's what we discussed yesterday. Have a look at it.
Right.
That's the more important.
Please.
Yeah.
Excuse me now, sir. I have to take leave. Thank you so much, viewers. Again, please subscribe to our respective channels and also to the other channel. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'll continue. Yeah. Okay. In a way, USA is fighting others' wars. Gulf countries' progress is being threatened by Iran for the money earned. The mullah may have been spending it in arms and not. Yeah, that's the problem with Iran. For the amount of money which Iran had, and over years, Iran would have been one of the most powerful and prosperous nations on earth. But they've spent it on ideology, they've spent it on proxies, they've spent it on something very stupid against Israel. It's a waste of time, right? So, I mean, I feel bad for them. Yeah. This is something very nice. As a wise general once said many podcasts ago, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and Pakistanis are from outer space. I think so. They're from some galaxy which they also don't know where they're coming from. Xi Jinping and Chinese Communist Party are also propagating false narratives. Yeah, they are propagating a lot of false narratives, but they are in a problem of their own. So let's see where that goes, because like I said, there have been funny things happening in China on which I can't put my finger on. And so I'll just narrate those incidents and then we'll see where the whole story is going. And what's more, I've been noticing these things happening, but didn't have the confidence to talk about it till such time. Yesterday, afternoon, I saw a lot of Chinese channels and they all talk of it. So let me also talk of it. Okay. Yeah. Sir, for me, Iran and Trump both are culprit. Iran's terrorism and Trump's. Yeah, I agree. Both are. It's something very funny that Iran and USA have not been able to make up. But I put the blame largely on Iran for the way it has turned out, and for that you have to go back to 79. Look, interestingly, 79, when Ayatollah Khomeini came back from France, he was in exile in France. Incidentally, he was initially in Iraq. Iraq threw him out, he went to Turkey. Turkey threw him out, he went to France. And after 3 months, the revolution took place. Reza Pahlavi was thrown and he came back. Who enabled this? Who enabled the return of Khomeini? It was France and USA. France and USA were the two countries which installed Khomeini, and Khomeini turned against everyone. That's the problem, and from then they have been like that. This Khamenei was uska chela, and it continued. So, to a large extent, the problems in Iran are self-inflicted. Trump though is later day phenomenon. Understand that. Okay. Iran is a test case for why revolution shouldn't be too successful. I completely agree with you. Too much of revolution in this thing. Yeah. Democrat and moderate in outlook and a warrior in mindset is the way forward. The only way forward. Please understand that. Okay, I think we have done for everything today. Join me in the evening. We're going to have the gunner site back to Shri IRG. Hopefully, Rashukla and Hari Mohan will join in. Till then, have a great time. And we'll join in tomorrow back in the morning to evening. Till then, have a thing and we'll see where this war goes. I'm going to be at it because this is not going to subside. Okay. And people think Trump is responsible for war. No, war was inevitable. I completely agree with you. They were on different planets altogether. Got to tell your secret for the energy you have to post every day. Look, it's not much. Let me tell you this. I keep reading and following it. So I'm talking 1 hour in the day. What's so great about it? The only thing is I pick up those things and put in a PowerPoint and show it to you. It's not a very great energy. Understand that. Okay, with this, thank you. Have a great time. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great day wherever you are.